Hey, everybody, you're watching The Political Vigilante. We have very special guests on the show. The authors of the Kween Chronicles, coverage of the first annual Resistance Forum by Joy Marie Mann and Patrick Coate, that you might know her as Savage Joy. You might know Patrick was, now he's Pat the Burner on Twitter, but he was Peter Douche, which was a great Peter Dow parody. And they're here with us today. Patrick, how are you doing? And tell us how you first came up with this idea for this book.
Right. So I had written as Peter Douche. I wrote An Inconvenient Douche, and Joy reached out to me and said, "Hey, maybe we should do a project together." And I got to waste no time, got cracking on it that weekend. And the concept is it's a forum like a political tour that goes around to different colleges and whatnot, where you have the pundits and media personalities discussing politics. So and that's the concept. It's basically a dialogue-driven lecture series kind of event, but it's the first annual Resistance Forum.
And it's really just a bunch of like vote any blue will do neoliberals. Is that sort of what you're making fun of?
Yeah, I mean it's vote blue no matter who. We cover the gaslighting. We cover Trump bad. All the stuff you see on TV. I mean, basically the book is a vehicle to expose the media as charlatans in this whole thing and complicit. And it's all sourced. It's not just ha-ha the whole way through. We're trying to educate people a bit too.
And then because there needs to be more. I love it that you guys do this because it really needs to be called out. As we're sitting here, especially, like, look, what's happening in Portland, Oregon is horrifying. Trump will not pull these federal troops away. But I really hope a lot of the people, especially those that are in Portland, and hats off to them who are going out in the streets every night. It's gnarly. It's pretty scary. It looks even dangerous. It looks very dangerous at times. But I hope many of those people understand that, look, Obama signed the NDAA in December of 2011 to allow this to happen. I mean, this notion that everything was great until Trump got sworn in is insane. So I that's why, and obviously I know this as a comedian, like if you can wake people up comedically, maybe they'll really wake up, because this, like, yeah, Trump's awful, but everybody acts like, oh, I wish Obama was here. Obama sent private security people to Standing Rock. He let Tiger Swan. I mean, he did this to Occupy Wall Street. I mean, he wasn't this like rainbows and puppy president that everyone wants to think that he is, in addition to bombing the shit out of the Middle East. So how much of that was woven in, because I know you're very knowledgeable about all that, is woven into this story?
Right. I mean, a lot of it. I mean, that's the central theme of the book, is that you're basically looking at these centrists that think we're just going to vote our way out of this. Vote blue no matter who, and everything's fine. But we use satire to bring up a lot of the points about how Obama expanded the Patriot Act, how Democrats keep voting for Trump's military budget. All the things Biden's done. I mean, we hit all of it, and the point is to bring out the hypocrisy of it all. I mean, to me, the media is the biggest. They're the most to blame in all this situation, despite how bad the Democrats are. If we had a fair media, the Democrats couldn't get away with being as bad as they are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, if the Democratic Party was actually this party of resistance and this working party and the People's Party, none of this shit would be happening. But I mean, right. The democratically controlled Congress just voted overwhelmingly to not reduce the military budget by only 10%. 10%. They just wanted to take 10% off of it, and which would still make it more than what Obama was getting. When Obama had an obscene amount of money. So, I mean, I just don't know when anyone's going to wake up to this fact, because it's like everything that's happening in the streets. I mean, literally, a lot of this happened during the Biden crime bill that was signed into law by Bill Clinton. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we're putting Democrats have the easiest election to win in history, and we're putting you got all these people in the streets, and we're running the guy that wrote the crime bill, authored the Patriot Act, expanded the military, police, the militarization of police forces. And you go down the line, and he's the worst guy we could possibly put in front of the public right now.
Yeah, these are our choices. These are our choices.
And yes, all the shitlibs think they're just going to go to brunch the minute Biden wins.
Yeah, I know. That's what I want. That's what I'm like, okay, I really hope Biden wins. So Trump's gone. Yay, ding dong, the witch is dead. And then what? Biden said he's not going to defund the police. He said we'll just teach him to shoot him in the leg. These cops and these federal agents are not going to be taken off the street. We're going to keep bombing 7 countries, if not add Iran and Venezuela to the list. And then what? Is everyone going to be at brunch? Because he doesn't.
Yeah, and he just told a group of private donors that he's not going to legislate his, businesses need to act better, and he's not going to legislate our way out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the ruling class wants him in power, because for the simple fact that like all these liberals will go to sleep, like they'll fall back to sleep. The one wild card I put in there is, because the economy is going to keep nosediving, there's going to be 28 million evictions. So even if Biden is the president next spring, it's going to keep, this economy is not going to just get like revved back into shape in a couple of months. Even if we open everything up, which isn't going to happen for a while, we still lost all this money. All these small businesses are gone. People's savings are gone. People, like all of this stuff is going to happen. So first, let's see it. Joy, is your sound working? No, we've completely lost Joy. But Pat, let me ask you that. How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we've got, normally in an election year, the Democrats would go back to brunch, but you do have, like you said, 28 million people conservatively about to be evicted. You got 60 million people losing their jobs. And we've got a system where healthcare is tied to your jobs that Joe Biden still supports. I mean, if you can't support Medicare for all right now in this situation, you can't even pretend to support Medicare for all. That shows that you're not really representing us. And I think so many people are going to be unemployed without healthcare and evicted and hungry and angry. And the fact that Black Lives Matter led to, we're not going to get any legislation on any of the issues they care about. They're going to stay in the streets, and a lot of people are going to join them. And I don't really see it going away as it usually would this time.
Yeah, because this freight train of economy of just crashing is not. That's the thing that's different. That's what's different than what happened with Occupy Wall Street. That's what's different.
Joy says she's trying to get back in here.
Is she trying to get back in? All right, let me see if we can bring her in there. All right. So now we got Joy back on the show due to some technical difficulties. Pat and I were just talking about the reality of what's happening and how even if Biden does get elected, I don't think the protests are going away. But I wanted to backtrack a little bit. What was your sort of first idea to get a hold of Pat and to do this comic?
Well, I had a few reasons, but really what inspired me was watching the treatment of Tara Reade. It reminded me of how many people dismiss me when I would say, look, Hillary is your girl, but she's married to a rapist. And, the way the cognitive dissonance, the utter disrespect for anyone who dare criticize anyone with a D next to their name. And Tara Reade just has been and is going through hell and back. And she came out against Joe before he was even running. But watching the way the women in particular were responding, I was just so disgusted, and I just kind of started making posts about, like, very sarcastic posts about, like, just being a Democrat, and everything's excused if you're a Democrat, things like that. And I thought, you know what? I sound like Alyssa Chilano when I'm posting this kind of stuff. And I just thought, this could definitely be some kind of parody movie, book, something. And then Bernie dropped, and I was just in such a sad place that I just hit up Pat, and we were acquaintances. I had him on my show a few times, and so I just hit him up and I said, "Hey, one day when you're done writing your other book, are you open to doing this?" And Pat and I have never met. He's in California, I'm in Pennsylvania, so I didn't even know if he was going to say, well, I'm trustworthy enough to do a book with. And he was pretty much like, let's talk this weekend. It's on. So it just, we've been like literary soulmates from day one.
So where do you think, the reality of this? Because Pat and I were discussing how a lot of the, I'm sure a lot of the people up in Portland who are, really getting into it every night with the police, and they're protesting federal agents, and there's huge, huge crowds in Portland, which is very impressive and gives me a lot of hope. How many of them do you think are waking up or will wake up to the fact that, like, Obama signing the NDAA in 2011 is why Trump can do all this? And when do you think people are going to wake up, if they haven't already? It feels like more people are waking up to the reality of things. Do you think it's going to be when the mass evictions hit, when the stimulus money runs out? Like, when do you think people are going to go, wow, the whole system's broken? Or do you think it's going to mean, Biden needs to win, and like, are people going to? Because I don't know. I think some people are going to fall asleep when Biden wins, but the economic circumstances are going to wake them back up, because this economic problem from the COVID shutdown is not going away. What are your thoughts on that, Joy?
Absolutely. I would like to say I'm optimistic, but the past 5 years have caused me to lose a lot of faith in people as a whole. And I think if Biden wins, I think a lot of people are going to have a rude awakening when they see how much stuff is still utter dumpster fires. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, not even just online, but so many people have this let's go back to normal bullshit attitude. And I think that's one of the reasons people love Biden, because they have Obama nostalgia. Yeah. They want to go back before Trump. It's really that simple. And I think the majority of people who are hardcore activists in the streets every day, like, there is no going back. But I think a lot of people are just going to behave as though Hillary won, and nothing has changed. I'm seeing people say things like calling coronavirus the Trump virus. So you're saying it wouldn't exist if Trump weren't president. Like, this is the mindset that so many people have. You see all these posts like, if Hillary were president, we wouldn't be marching in the street. Yeah, well, that's the problem, dumbass.
Yeah, that absolutely is the problem.
I don't have a lot of hope. I mean, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. That's what I hope.
Well, I feel similarly. I want to have hope. I see glimpses of hope. But again, if everybody, they literally think this wouldn't be happening if Hillary was president, we'd still be bombing 7 countries. We would still be sanctioning Iran and Venezuela. If she was president, we probably already would have been invading Iran. And everyone on the left would have gone, oh, Iran invaded us. There'd be some false flag blowing, something. And everyone would see, like, oh, it's time to go do that. And yeah, that's why she's such a strong leader. See, women are strong leaders. It's like, yeah, she's the first, female leader of the American empire. Great. Diversity. Now
Her bombs are much more pretty and feminine.
That's what I want. Obama had bombs with rainbow flags on them. I would want her bombs to have, nail polish or whatever. And maybe they say "Me Too" on them as they go blow up people of color in the Middle East. Like, it's just madness, man. And so, yeah, we are in insane times, and I hope enough people wake up. I hope they wake up that this is basically this is class warfare. I really hope they wake up that, because the police and these federal DHS agents or whatever, they're protecting and serving the ruling class. That's what they're doing. They're keeping people in the streets fighting with each other rather than going and storming the castle, rather than just burning down the CIA and burning down Google and burning down Bezos's houses and just demanding these billionaires give up their money and power. So I hope people wake up to this fact. I really do, because that's kind of where we're at right now. But well, Joy and Pat, I really appreciate you taking time for coming on the show. I'm glad we worked out the tech issues. Tell us where people can get this book online.
And also let me say, I just had eye surgery. I'm legally blind, so it's not that I think I'm too cool and wear sunglasses inside.
You've gone Hollywood.
They're literally this thick and on top of my glasses, so they're extra awesome. But you can get our pre-order books at www.savageandpat.com. And when you pre-order, you can have either Pat or myself sign, and we can write whatever message you'd like. And some of you guys are giving us some interesting ones. And you can also find me at Savage Joy Marie 1 on Twitter. And I do a show a few times a week called Savage Joy, The Unruly Hour. And that is on Uphill Media.
Which I've been on that show. It's always a blast to be on that show. Joy, always great to see you. Check out her show. And then Pat, tell everybody, obviously if they want this book, they can go to savageandpat.com. But Pat, where can people find your work and follow you on Twitter?
I'm just Twitter schmuck, and you can find me at Pat the Burner or Nate's Litter, which is at SILE Rabbit. Pat Silly Rabbit.
Awesome. Well, Pat and Joy, thank you so much for being on the show. Joy, don't tell people the eye surgery thing. Just act like you're all glammed out to, Hollywood, that you're in a limo just drinking Mai Tais or whatever. I think you should just play that card.
I'm so upper class.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Graham.
Thanks, Graham.
Bye-bye.
Much love.
All right. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.